Good evening, free enterprise fans around the world, and welcome to the debut of the Hop Till You Shop flag set, coming to you as a community race. I am Possum Morpheus, and I am joined by the one and only master of the Pink Puffs, Rybon. How you doing this evening, Rybon?
Possum, I'm doing great. I'm very excited to see this flag set, which is a new ladder flag set. Actually be run by 4 players who are much, much better at push B to jump flag sets than I am. A Stone Dingley, Tybalt, Sorbius, and Rexman.
Yeah, that makes 2 of us. I know enough to be dangerous with the pushing B and the jumping and all of that, but I'm with you. I would definitely consider us, if we were to compare the 4 runners on screen to the 2 of us, we'd be the 5th and 6th best, and it's not even a competition. So I'm very excited to see what we can learn from these runners and just watch them kind of bounce around and do some crazy stuff taking advantage of that push B to jump. Some of the really neat things about this race, it is not a Zeromus fight. So our runners just have to complete 4 of the 5 objectives, which are all on the moon. Random moon altars, go up there, fight some bosses, and there's some new and creative ways to get to the moon without even having a darkness crystal.
Indeed. Glitches aside, the pass is the primary alternative way to get to the moon. Being able to glitch back after entering the Zeroman's room and enter the moon, but it is a one-way trip, so with no EXP on, maybe runners are unable to do any type of grind up there except for trap chests, they could find themselves in a very precarious position. So it's quite a risk, but could lead to a very quick victory.
Yeah, I know that in watching some of these, I have seen hourglasses in particular be kind of the one singular J item that our runners are really going to be looking for, because that lets you take trap chests like the hairdryer chest, like the warlock and carry chest. And with characters like Rydia and Porum, you're going to need some XP. A Sand Ruby's phenomenal. I rolled one of the money kits and came in the middle on the other one. So starting out with nearly 130,000 in the way of cash is not bad at all. A little sad to see a free boss in one of the guards in Baron Castle, but this is a pretty reasonable start money-wise and key item-wise.
Indeed. Another interesting wrinkle of this flag set is that we have distinct 5, meaning there are only 5 different characters available to our runners. Dupes are available, so they'll be able to take who's sitting in that Kaipo bed right now with that Sand Ruby. But it may just be another Rydia, it could be another Porum, and that may not be what our runners are interested in today.
Yeah, that's definitely true that, that distinct 5 adds a layer of complexity to it. We are going to see some varying paths from our runners. We have Sorbius going to Troya, we have Stone Dingley going through and looting Baron, and we have 2 runners, Rex Banner and Tybalt, going and taking a look at Kaipo right away. One of the easy parts about tracking all the different things that our runners are going to pick up is it's all money. So easy to figure out there's no loot. But there is a hook from the free character, pretty much a useless key item, unless exactly the Darkness Crystal and or the Pass are somehow located behind it.
Indeed, or unless our runners happen to find something like the Pinktail, which I believe, with no adamants off, should result in an adamant armor.
Yeah, that's also true that a Pinktail could definitely be helpful for the runners. We do see, though, with everything available in shops, including adamant armors, our runners could just farm up enough money, and they would be able to purchase anything. Moon veils are super important to find, by the way. Because you can just head up to the moon, find a physical boss, and just cheese it. That's one of the best items to find as well.
And Tybalt showing off another flag here, by the way. Yes, he's now showing it off, realizing that vanilla traps are on. So he can loot Eblin Castle here without any type of risk whatsoever, just as long as he avoids those 3 trap chests here.
And looks like in Troya, there are some hourglasses, some Cure 2s, some cabins. Really good stuff in Troya for an early trip to the moon should our runners find the Darkness Crystal or the Pass early on.
very interesting thus far. I believe we're seeing Rex Banner head over to Cave Magnes with that push speed to jump enabled. That Twin Harp, not necessary. So we're going to see this key item pretty quickly.
Yeah, not necessary, but it is a potential check early on to kind of get things rolling. It's an interesting play to make, one that when I'm looking at push speed to jump, I don't normally make early. And the reason is I usually want to see if the Twin Harp is in logic before I go ahead and actually do the check itself. It looks like Rex may be using this as a time to loot as well as collect, collect the money, not loot per se, as well as checking that key item that's going to be here. So it's definitely an interesting play. It's certainly a little cheeky. It's probably a restream based thing. We know Rex is one of the ultimate showmen of free enterprise. So, definitely don't hate it. It's just an alternative path for sure.
Meanwhile, Stone Dingley has showed us our third character in logic of the distinct five, being Sid up there on Hobbs, deciding to take the Thesera fight to pick up Sid. Potentially a very useful character. I mean, we have 3 children right now running around. They need adult supervision, and Sid provides that, as well as some strong melee capability as well with the proper equipment.
Yeah, absolutely. That Sid is helpful. The twins are helpful. Rydia makes a great anchor. And oh, by the way, about that whole Twin Harp thing, this is why I would lose every one of these, is because it has the pass, and that means Rex is in go mode. So, I'll just take the hat that I was wearing and I'll eat it and I'll be on my way.
Congratulations on your 4-minute go mode, Rex. And it looks like Tybalt will be making that gamble very shortly as well. Now the question for Rex and shortly for Tybalt will be, now what?
And the answer to the now what question is find any 5 characters that you can, maybe even 4 characters, a couple of hourglasses, get some levels and go blow things up. That's really what the answer becomes. And it'll be interesting. Maybe our runners try to buy a stack of J items and go up Zot. Maybe try to pick up those 2. Maybe pick up a Bahamut summon, since there is a Rydia. Although she does make a really good anchor, Bahamut is pretty OP. Or Rex could just go now.
Rex does not care about finding additional characters. There is a free character on the moon, of course, but being able to kill these bosses may be a little bit of a challenge. It depends on who's up here.
Although Rex did save outside of Troya before doing this, so I wonder if he's just showing everything off. Yeah, I think that's what he's doing, is showing off the fantastic little Fusoya room.
I wonder if he'll be able to kill the Fupa in time.
It's not. I'm sure nothing too bad will happen.
Tybalt, meanwhile, doing the same, heading straight up to the moon, I believe, with only 2 characters.
Same thing. There is Rydia getting a hug from Grandpa Fu. Basically acting like a Master Tonberry. And Rex does reset. Thank you, Rex, for showing that off. Again, ever the show, man. We love you, Rex. Yep, Fabul with the crystal. That's not gonna help. Zeromus is taking a nap, it appears.
And Tybalt's showing us how to actually get to the lunar subterranean in this particular flag set. Ultimately, you have to leave this room and then re-enter prior to being able to take that exit out to the lunar surface, just like this.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive play. This is one where you hope to find something like a Fusoya on the moon here.
Or no character at all in Tybalt's case. Maybe he just has enough power. I'm trying to think of 5 bosses that could be up here, or at least 4 bosses that could be up here, because 4 of these altars are required to win the game. Maybe he'll find them.
I'm definitely intrigued by Tybalt's play here. I'm very curious what his plan is. I am certainly not an expert at this flag set, so I'm sure Tybalt has a plan, and I just don't know what it is. Meanwhile, Rex is going down the hook route. Going to be checking out the character here, most likely, as well as do some extra looting and find a lot of money in these chests since they are highly weighted. And we have an Earth Crystal on Sorbius' side. That's a fantastic pickup because that is 18 treasure chests, I believe, and that is a ton of money that's going to be in those.
Indeed. You don't need a whole lot of levels if you do find the right J items or the right equipment, as you mentioned early on in the show. And that treasury will go a long way into ensuring that you are, well, moon ready when you find that pass.
Yeah, it looks like we have Tybalt is going to be face-checking bosses here. Might be looking for a King Queen Eblin. I don't know what else he'd be able to beat. Certainly not a Kainatsu. That's a little icky for sure. Or maybe he's just doing this as information. He just wants to scout who the bosses are and see what he needs to do beforehand.
True. Knowledge is power, after all. And, well, I mean, maybe he could do that Golbez?
Technically doable, which is, in this case, the worst kind of doable. Because that's 42,000 hit points. That's going to take roughly 12 years to destroy itself.
Meanwhile, Sorbius is now finding his pass. We now have 3 restream runners on stream in Go mode.
Yep, and we also have Stone Dingley getting through ordeals. Won't have to deal with a nasty demist at Ogopogo. By the way, this moon is awful. And yeah, Stone Dingley probably making the best choice to just stay away from it forever for right now, even if it is fully required.
Tybalt has decided that he has enough information, and knowledge is power in this flag set, but enough information that he is back on the blue planet and getting prepared.
Yeah, being back on the blue planet, getting prepared, when you've seen 3 bosses and they're Kainatsu, Golbez, and Demist, you're going to want to do some prep for that.
And I believe both Rex and Tybalt marching up the Tower is out right now will give us our first check of the 2 characters up here. You do not need the Earth Crystal per se to get these 2 characters. A little wrinkle of push B to jump, so it'll be interesting to see maybe we get 2 edges, for example, and that could make the moon a little more doable.
Oh, I think we're about to get our first treasury check, though. I don't know about y'all, but I'm thinking this is going to be $signs out of 10. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Let's find out.
But how many $signs out of 10?
Treasury!
I heard you like SIDS. If you do, there's 2 of them in the Tower is out right now.
Yeah. Sid is a character that exists. Sid, and Sid are also characters that exist. Sorbius has all the money he could want. We know there are adamant armors for sale in Cave Eblin. Sorbius does not quite have enough to buy any adamant armors. He got about 300,000 from that treasury, it looks like. But opts for a Sork robe and is going to go from there. Meanwhile, Stone Dingley going through and clearing all of what we would consider Sphere 0 checks, which are things that are ungated, no key items required to get to them. So things like Fabul, Ordeals, Baronin, just going through and doing all these logical progression type checks, kind of eschewing the push B to jump logic, if you will, and just staying very much so in normal logic.
I agree. A much more conventional routing from a Stone Dingley. And while the unconventional just jump straight into Cave Magnes plays paying off this particular flag set, a Stone Dingley is not necessarily out of it right now. Any one of these checks could result in a Darkness Crystal, for example. I would argue better than finding the pass.
Yeah, given what's up on that moon, it might be better to have an escape route than not, because there's some very unpleasant things up there for sure.
Speaking of unpleasant things, here's some pleasant things. Another free fight in terms of 2 guards, the Baron guards here in the Baron Inn, 1 spot over, meaning those were Kaipo guards that gave us our initial key item at the start of the game.
Yeah, definitely a situation where seeing all those free bosses, or starting to see all of those free bosses, knowing they're out there, means that you start to fear a little bit about the moon. So Stone Dingley might pick up the same information that Tybalt already has without actually having to go to the moon. So it could be a blessing in disguise to not take advantage of that push B to jump routing and just kind of keep clearing everything naturally.
Notably, there is our 4th of 5 distinct characters, Pelham, sitting in the Baron Inn. So I'm not sure who the remaining 5th character is, but we have a lot of magical power and 1 burly old man to try to get through all those mean moon bosses.
Yeah, the way I look at this party is you have 4 anchors and you need to find something to do damage. That something in this case is normally Bahamut, but I don't believe we have eyes on Bahamut, Leviathan, or Sylph even from what I've seen so far.
Not yet, and I don't believe a lot of our runners on stream have been prioritizing shopping just yet. We may see that change, however, specifically when Tybalt goes underground.
Yeah, might opt to maybe take a trap chest or 2 underground, may opt to even do something like Dwarf Castle, try to get through that and see who the character is. A lot of different avenues that Tybalt can go. And Stone Dingley might be hoping he chose a different avenue, because I believe that we are going to get Senator Crocodile.
Well, buckle in, because Stone Dingley may be here for a while. I don't believe that outside of Twin Magic, there is a lot of AE power on his team, and the Twin Magic that is currently being cast is just not enough.
Yeah, it's particularly awkward having 3 of the twins, because Porum gets in the way as far as who ends up with the correct priority for using Twin Magic. Because you can no longer control the order of like Bluff and then Twin, having a 3rd one, especially a non-Palom, means that her wisdom stack can get pulled sometimes, and it makes it very awkward to try to do AoE damage. So it's a very difficult skill to master with 3 or more of the twins to get everything to work properly.
Meanwhile, Tybalt is our first runner underground, heading down the Fame March right now, looting along the way. Could find the items he's looking for, maybe a Bahamut summon, maybe a Leviathan summon, and could be heading straight up to the moon, because I believe he has 2 Iridias on his team right now. Meanwhile, we see Rex Banner going back a few checks that Stone Dingley has already done, going to the full checks. Not sure what he's looking for per se. Maybe looking for a Darkness Crystal, may not like that pass too much. And Sorbius finding the Sylph, I believe up on the moon right now.
Sorbius has a Sylph summon, an Adamant Armor, and a Dream, and that is how he's going to try to get through this moon. It'll work, but we might be here for a while.
It'll work. Maybe it might have a hard time working against that Kinazo without a much larger HP pool, but it could work.
Definitely here for it. I would love to see what the option is. And of course, there is the nice out that our runners have of being able to fade one of the altars. With this particular party and its lack of HP other than exactly Sid, that Kainatsu may become the fade.
True. I mean, with a Star Veil or 2, that gold bed is doable. And with Sylph and enough life potions, so is that Demist. I don't believe we've seen the Crystal Sword altar yet or the Murasame altar yet, so I'm not sure there's anything much rough. Maybe an Ogopogo would be pretty rough. You may want to fade that one instead. I don't know.
Ogo, Val, Baigen, all of which would be kind of gross. We do have a dermatologist as the job dwarf today.
Not a whole lot for sale that I've seen here in Tamra, however. Life Staff, Silent Staff, nice for Porum, but not going to get you through that moon.
Still no eyes on our fifth character. That is another Palom, which is nice, but does not have access to Bahamut, to Leviathan, to Sylph.
So, with pretty early Quake, could be an asset up on the moon. 2 Paloms available to a Stone Dingley right now. 2 Quakes could get you through some rough moon bosses. Stone Dingley, of course, does not know what is up there waiting for him. Probably wouldn't exactly be what he's looking for against King Na, though, but could be useful against that Demon, for example.
Yeah, that's definitely true. At least he has the knowledge that the Gauntlet's not up there, so that's a plus. And it looks like Stone Dingley is rewarded with a spoon. You kind of hope that Edward is the fifth character now, because that is a primary source of DPS physically. That is actually quite an interesting pickup.
I don't know where our Edward is hiding, if he is hiding anywhere, but hopefully somewhere pretty accessible, because that right there is, as you mentioned, pretty much all the offense you need after a few levels, especially with an adamant armor on that Edward. He gets a bad rap, but Spoonward has carried me through many, many races.
Oh yeah, I mean, Spoonward is one of, if not my favorite, especially with the adamant armor in Supermarket Sweep, another one of our ladder flag sets to go with Hop Till You Shop. Adamant armor Spoonward, oh my heavens. The young man does work.
I may have missed it, but I believe Carice just mentioned in chat, and thank you for that Tybalt has found his Bahamut summon.
Yeah, that Bahamut summon will allow Tybalt to be the next of our runners to go to the moon. Swerbius will have an advantage for now with the levels, with the Sylph summon with Quake. But Bahamut means that that advantage is going to disappear in a hurry. Sylph is nice. Bahamut is Dragon God on a stick.
Bahamut does many things. Doesn't just kill bosses, but also enables a lot of those trap chests that have a very large sum of XP. And notably, too, MP glitches on. So worrying about the MP cost of that Bahamut, not exactly very important in this flag set.
Yeah, the MP glitch is very nice as well. Basically set it up so that you can cast, what is it, 800, 900 MP worth, something like that. I forget how much MP you get from the glitch itself. But it eventually circles back around, and it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 13 Bahamut casts. It's really, really quite nice.
Now, a Stone Dingley, following the remaining 3 runners that have been on Restream, heading down Cape Magni, will find his pass. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Does he go directly to the moon, as many of our other runners have, or does he look for some other way to power up here on Earth, before heading straight to the lunar terrain?
Interesting. In Stone Dingley's shoes, he might go down that hook route and do some shopping underground. It's tough to say, though, because especially if he's kept that Rydia as an anchor, it becomes a little less important to shop. Also, if he has like a power shirt, which I know we saw available in shops and things like that, the power shirt will allow him to get through physically, where like Sorbius and Tybalt will be relying on magic. So it'll be very interesting to see what Stone Dingley does. Doesn't look like he's satisfied, at least yet. Might be doing the treasury, but probably completing Zot here. Yeah, it looks like he's headed up the tower.
Yeah, I don't believe he's picked up his 2 Sids yet, so he doesn't know who awaits him here. Meanwhile, Tybalt has completely cashed in 500,000 gold in Eblan Cave for that adamant armor. So armed with an adamant armor Iridia and Bahamut, he may be heading his way up to the moon relatively quickly.
Yeah, he might be opting to try to knock one of the Ridias off real quick here to use as an anchor, or maybe just trying to power both up, just get him enough MP or get him a spell so they can try to MP glitch. Not sure exactly, or maybe he wants just life on Porum as well. Could be a reason for taking a fight like this.
That's a good point. Base level Riddy, I believe, does not know Cure 1, does not know Sight, so very difficult to MP glitch without those spells in your repertoire.
Yeah. That would be my guess for that. Yeah, looks like he's going to go do the MP glitch now.
So he's now armed with a very good anchor in Dead Iridia over there, and a very good damage dealer in Adamant Armor Iridia. We're about to see the MP glitch in action. Well, maybe. Meanwhile, Stone Dingley heading up and finishing up Zot, about to find his 2 Sids. It'll be very interesting to see whether he takes one, both, or neither.
My guess is neither, but I've been proven wrong a lot already in this seed.
Now, one thing we probably will not see in this flag set is the 10 key item bonus. With 3, now actually all 4 of our runners on stream with Moon Access, you're not going to see likely a lot of key item checks remaining. Or at least enough key item checks for our runners to get to 10 key items, but not very important for the most part. You don't need a lot of XP in order to beat these bosses, as Tybalt is about to show us, heading right up to the moon, happy with his level, I believe, 7 Iridia, believing that's sufficient, and it very well could be.
Level 7 Iridia has infinite MP, and when you have hourglasses and an adamant armor, that's pretty good. Also, speaking of pretty good, we talked about King Queen Eblan possibly being on the moon. I believe this is the Murasame altar.
The 9th chunk of XP, I believe about 60,000, but notably, one of our 4 objectives required for this particular flag set.
Yeah, I believe it's 59,000 XP here, so right around that 60k. And yeah, that's the kickstart that you could use instead of even a trap chest. I doubt that we'll see runners just go straight for this Murasame altar, but you never know.
Meanwhile, Tybalt finding the Leviathan over at the Hummingway shop. So if you didn't find that angry dragon god, here's the next best thing. And looks like he is using it anyway.
I think he just wants Riddy to have all the nice toys. He's also never going to spend the money on anything else at this point, so I don't hate it. Can't take it with you.
It's Iridia's world, and we're all just living in it. You may have not noticed the first time around, but they're the Porum at the lunar dais.
I noticed, I just didn't say anything. It's partially part of a character that might exist. We did get a coffin from Ordeals, so you can pick up a Porum and a coffin and it's all good. Exactly. But we do have Sorbius making his way down the lunar subterranean. He is currently up an objective on our other runners. He does have objective number 1 complete, but I expect Tybalt will be joining him with objective 1 complete very shortly.
So very interesting to see what is on this Crystal Sword altar. This is the last objective boss that we have yet to see. And if it's another freebie, that D-Mist, that Golbez, both very doable. We could have a finisher very, very soon.
Yeah, in Tybalt's shoes, it's interesting because I wonder if there's a world in which that Kainatsu becomes more doable time-wise than the D-Mist does, or than the Golbez does. Because those are both very doable, but very long fights.
This is a free fight in some circumstances, but not this circumstance with Karate here and no Sesame on your team.
Yeah, this is quite an ugly fight. Lots of damage from kick. The adamant armor Palom will be fine, but the kick is going to do 300 to 400 splash damage to everyone. It's kind of rough.
But going back to what you were saying earlier, that Keinazo, being at the White Spear altar, I believe, only has about, correct me if I'm wrong, 30-ish thousand HP?
28,000.
So yeah, much quicker to do. That's maybe what, 4 Bahamas? Where that D-Mist, quite a bit more damage. Requires a little more finesse, of course, trying to time those lit ones effectively to not die to a wave very early into the fight, but could be a gamble that Tybalt makes.
One of the interesting things in Tybalt's shoes is he might not even view it as a gamble. When you have Bahamut and you have an adamant armor, nothing really feels all that bad. It's just a matter of how much time does something take. And for him, that would be less gambly than for everyone else. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what the runners decide to do, especially in Tybalt's shoes, how aggressive he decides to get with the bosses. Whereas Sorbius, we know, is going to have to play a much more calculated game where he's relying on either a Sylph summon or a Quake to get through these bosses. And he does get through this karate boss at the Crystal Sword altar, and that is a good pickup for him. So that's also going to be objective number 2 for Sorbius.
Sorbius halfway to winning this particular game. Had the pigtail, not very useful because, well, that path was a one-way trip, I'm afraid. So no adamant armor for you. What'll be interesting to see is, unfortunately, with Palom getting the only one getting experience from that particular fight, these remaining 3 fights may be a bit of a challenge for Sorbius.
Yeah, the Kainatsu in particular is rough now because you only have one person that got that XP, as you alluded to, and Palom is not going to have enough HP to survive the true damage from the wave. But what he might be able to do is bluff up a couple times, cycle through some lit ones, and be able to nerf the first few waves and maybe Quake it down. It would be a very technically challenging approach to the fight. One I think is doable and someone of Sorbius' level could do, but I don't know realistically how much fun that would be.
Well, he's giving it a shot. So it'll be interesting to see if this Lit 3, which he queued up, manages to go off and nerf this wave in time.
I think even if the Lit 3 goes off, it'll be too late to drop the, yeah. There comes the wave, and there goes the team. That's always the concern, is that the ability to get that lit, whether it be 1, 2, or 3 off, that's always going to be there. But can you get it timed right? And that's the part where the technical part of that fight is just very difficult.
Now, interesting here, passing up on that Keinazo, but one thing that caught my attention is that initial wave only did about 1,100 damage to Palom. Nearly survive that particular wave without any type of nerfing, any type of damage, except for that one small virus from Rydia to begin with. So maybe after, say, Palom here gets enough XP from the Golbez, if it does happen, could have enough HP to just go straight at that particular Kinazo and beat him.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. As long as you can get the timing correct on it, it could certainly work. We see the snake from Golbez deciding to try to eat Palom, and that is going to result in 3 characters being left alive. One of the interesting things with this Golbez, though, is that the Lit 3 won't do any damage to Palom. The Fire 2 won't do any damage. The Virus is still probably going to kill Palom. So if there's no Star Veils up, it still becomes a situation where this is a losable fight because of how vicious the viruses are here.
1600 damage will probably kill that Palom outright, but one thing I noticed that Sorbius has it in inventory, 2 Moon Veils.
Yeah, those Moon Veils, we kind of talked about that earlier, that you can use those and kind of cheese some fights on the moon. And it looks like that may be something that has to come out here because, again, if that virus hits this Palom, that's going to be the show. So he may need to use one here in order to get through this Golbez, or at least a Star Veil to make sure the virus doesn't hit the kid.
And out come the Star Veils, a very good use of them right now. I mean, you only have one more boss to go after this one. You can take them with you to the next seed, so you may as well just use them.
And he may also be thinking, I would like an extra character alive for that Kainatsu. And this is the scary part. So Rydia does have a Veil up, which is good. But now it's just Palom and Rydia. I think he's going to be okay here, though. Yeah, gets the second Veil up. So at least Palom and Rydia are going to survive through this. Still a sketchy fight, though. Golbez at this spot is not free. Tybalt, also now with 2 objectives down, has caught up and has Dragon God on his side. So this will be interesting to see if Tybalt is able to catch up through the power of Dragon God.
Yep, Tybalt hot on the heels of Sorbius right now, but as you mentioned, does have additional power through that Bahamut. I do not know if Tybalt has, say, those Moon Veils, for example. Could be useful for, say, Demist, for example. I know that they both have 1 Adamant armor, so they're not too worried about the physical attacks on one character, but you could increase your damage output against Demist by having 2 spellcasters up, a Rydia and a Palom, for example. In the case of Sorbius, who is through that Golbez and now had 3 of 4 objectives complete.
And speaking of 2 casters, Rex does have 2 Rydias and Bahamut. So Rex will be blowing through this moon much quicker than Sorbius and Tybalt, but quite simply will have gotten here a lot later. It'll be interesting to see what Sorbius goes for here. He knows Kainatsu is in this location. He also knows that there's another potential boss just hanging out at the Ogopogo spot. So it's going to be interesting to see what Sorbius opts to do. Does he go for this Kainatsu, or does he go for what we know is Demist?
Yep, the devil you know versus the devil you don't. That Kainatsu is fully doable for both Tybalt and Sorbius right now, and likely the right call for the individual that wants to win on Restream.
Yeah, and there goes Sorbius into that Kainatsu fight. Tybalt getting near the end of this Golbez fight, I believe. Rex Banner is making his way down the Lunar Subterranean, or at least to the Murasame altar, and Stone Dingley, doing a little bit of shopping before heading to the moon, does find a Stardust Rod. That's a really nice pickup as well.
Sorbius unfortunately discovering that casting Lit 2 is just too slow to nerf that initial wave, so we'll likely opt for a Lit 1 this particular time around. And meanwhile, Rex Banner, now with a party of 5 children, marching down the moon, will find his first free fight. It looks like he may be using Porum as an anchor for this particular fight.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Porum with only 7 agility base makes a pretty good anchor. Rydia going down by 2 HP for Sorbius there, taking 910 when she only has 908 health. That feels really bad. Tybalt is now through objectives 1, 2, and 4, though. So Tybalt, as you said, hot on Sorbius's heels, and everybody is hot on the heels of our first place finisher this evening off stream, Baka Shinobi, who finished with a time of 36 minutes and 28 seconds. GG's to Baka.
Yeah, great performance by Baka off stream. One of the premier runners of the free enterprise community, finishing very well in the ZZ4 tournament that recently occurred. Not surprised at all to see him finish first place here.
Yeah, Baka, an old hat of free enterprise and incredibly good at the game in general. So not a surprise at all to see him do very well. Baka also a fan of quick seeds, things like Giant Percent, which this is kind of like. No surprise at all to see him do well. We do see Tybalt, who knows that Kainatsu and knows that D-Mist are both available and has opted to go for this D-Mist. So Tybalt saying, well, let me go play ball with D-Mist here. Cast Chocobo on D-Mist to try to push some extra damage, knowing that Bahamut wouldn't fire in time. Got all of 12 damage. So that's a thing that happened.
So D-Mist is the safe choice here, I would say, whereas Kainazo, the risky but potentially faster choice. Interesting to see that both have now headed over to the D-Mist. Probably a good choice in this particular case for both of them. Even though I'm not exactly sure how much HP is here. I want to say like 40-ish thousand, if you could correct me.
I believe it's 37,000 at this location. So a couple more Bahamuts and Tybalt will be through. And
well,
it looks like... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So yes, a couple more Bahamuts, but ultimately maybe 5 casts. Doesn't take too long. Probably a superior choice over the Kainazo, because very little technical skill or a lot less technical skills required to beat this particular boss.
Yeah, and Tybalt, I believe, finding out that Leviathan and Bahamut have the same cast time, probably not terribly thrilled by the fact that he ended up whiffing that Leviathan. But it's okay. He'll still get through this. It's just not going to be fast, but it will be faster than casting Sylph, as Sorbius is doing.
And meanwhile, we had another finisher off stream, Invenerable, finishing with a time of 40 minutes flat, actually.
Yeah, GG's to Inven, another one of the premier runners in free enterprise. A lot of the old hats coming out for this one, so GG's to them.
But Tybalt should be done momentarily. This could be the last Bahamut cast.
Gonna need one more, it looks like. But meanwhile, we have Stone Dingley going to find the Porum on the Lunar Dais here. We have Rex, who has now made his way to the bottom of the moon. And we have Sorbius and Tybalt going to battle with this D-Mist.
It's quite close because, unfortunately, that D-Mist is interacting or moving a little faster than Tybalt would like, and has whiffed, I believe, on the last 2 summon attacks here.
Yeah, it's difficult because you're going to have to time the summon, and you can't do it when you're in the non-mist phase. It would have to be queued up during the mist phase to hit during the non-mist phase. So it's very confusing. This is what happens with slow delays. on summons and a 1v1 situation, which you normally do not see in Free Enterprise. It's kind of a unique situation.
Sorbius doing, however, he's having a much easier time here casting Quake, which fires off, I believe, faster than both Leviathan and Bahamut. But also with 4 characters up and doing damage, they are clogging the queue, as they say, and making it easier to time these spells.
Yeah, having 4 people able to play ball instead of 1 will definitely expedite this for Sorbius. But Virus, Sylph, attacks from Sid, they all still do less damage than a single Bahamut cast.
But at this point, for at least first on Restream, it's still anybody's game between Tybalt and Sorbius. Any one of them could finish any moment now.
That is definitely true, and this Bahamut may do it for Tybalt. He's been in this fight for quite some time now. Looks like Rex also casting Bahamut on Golbez. Tybalt is through that demist fight, and that is going to be a crystal sword because, folks, there is a crystal sword in every seed. But that is going to be Tybalt finishing in 44 minutes and 7 seconds. Our first place runner on stream. GG's to Tybalt. Very well done, and we'll see if we can get him in for an interview.
Absolutely. GG Tybalt showed off very well his skill at push B to jump and his ability to take risks that pay off on this particular flag set. Very well played.
Yeah, very nicely done indeed by Tybalt. Continuing his streak of putting up incredible times and incredible placements in community races and events overall. Really coming into form in the tournament off-season, so going to be a competitor to look out for in the next tournament. And speaking of, we are joined by Tybalt. GG's to you, sir.
Oh, still shaking. Oh, my mic's working. Good.
Yes, it is. We can hear you.
That was interesting.
Adam in armor, Bahamut, a small child, and a dream.
Yeah, the power of Rydia with infinite mana.
So, going back to kind of the beginning of the seed, you start seeing your different characters. What kind of plan are you formulating? You know, as you're starting this out, you're seeing your characters. What were you looking for, and why were you looking for it?
I knew once I saw the second Rydia and Sid's, I'm like, well, let me see at least. I didn't realize that when you warped on the moon, you went to the top. I thought you started at the bottom. So I was thinking, well, let me see what the bottom 3 bosses are and try to plan around those 3 bosses when I'm shopping. I got Kainazo, I got Golbez, and I got Demist. Okay, well, Moonveil makes Demist free. Starveil makes Golbez free. Kainazo really don't want to deal with. I'll take my chances on the other 2.
Yeah, that makes sense, because we had kind of speculated while you were going up there that it might have been an information trip more than anything, and that's what it turned out to be. Seeing the bosses you saw there gave you some information, though, as to different things you need, as you alluded to. So very well done in that aspect, if you will, getting that information to know what you were up against.
And then finding the adamants there in Heblin, I'm like, I want one. That makes everything on the moon trivial. And now I just need to find a decent summon for Rydia, like Bahamut or Leviathan.
Or both.
And we're good. Yeah.
We figured you bought the Leviathan just for fun because you can't take the money with you.
Well, I figured that Leviathan was slower cast time than Bahamut, so I might be have a better chance of it versus Demist. But timing's hard.
Yeah, we noted that the timing was awkward because you can't wait for Demist to be out of Mist Phase to cast any of those. And we also noticed that you tried to sneak a chocobo in, which only did 12 damage, which was rather humorous as well.
That was actually a dropped input.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I meant to cast Bahamut. I'm like, I think I cast Chocobo. And I did.
It looked good for the fans. You're building that audience. It's good stuff. So what's your thought on the flag set as a whole, Tybalt? How are you liking it? You going to run it on ladder? What's your thoughts?
This is the first time I've actually run this flag set, so it's a quite interesting flag set in itself. I mean, I think the mages may have the deal here, just with Rydia being overpowered as she is in this particular flag set. So I think that might be the meta for this one. On the ladder, I don't know yet. Let me try it out once or twice.
Fair enough. Any questions for Tybalt? I feel like I've hogged the mic in the interview.
That's all good. I actually had one question for you, Tybalt. So, as mentioned, you did an information trip up to the moon pretty early on. You did find those 3 bosses at the Ribbon, White Spear, and Masamune altars. If you had known, or if you had spied that Murasame altar early on, found that free King Queen Evelyn, would that have significantly changed your calculus about how you approach this feat?
No.
Okay.
Just when I went there with just the 2 characters, just pure information. And seeing the King Queen Evelyn there, it's just free experience. And I'm still looking for the same items regardless with knowing the bottom 3 bosses.
And secondly, what drew you almost immediately, to Cave Magnes early on?
It's an out-of-the-way check. Nobody likes it. I saw exit item in a shop and went, I can get this item out of the way. I don't have to worry about it.
Fair enough.
Well, sounds like that's all the questions we have, Tybalt. Do you have anything else you would like to add before we let you go enjoy the rest of your evening?
No, thanks for the restream. I bet comms has been a trip knowing both of you. Thanks for tracking with Firebird and the ever so lovely Scully Kitty doing the restream.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tybalt, as always. Thank you for volunteering. Make sure, everyone, you give folks like Tybalt a follow. Without Tybalt volunteering, we wouldn't have a show to put on. So thank you again, Tybalt, and I hope you have a great evening. GG's again.
GG's.
And we are joined by our 3rd place overall runner, Sorbius. I do just want to say GG's to you, Sorbius, and also just let folks know that after Sorbius finished, we did have a small rush of finishers, Microcorgs in 4th and Engie Dave in 5th. But let's get to the 2nd man of the hour on Restream, Sorbius. GG's to you.
GG's, thanks. That was a lot of fun.
So my first question to you is going to be, how much do you wish you had the Bahamut at Dwarf Castle?
Is there one for sale in Dwarf Castle?
Sure was.
It would have been nice. I mean, given the time it would have taken to go and get it, I don't know that it would have saved me a ton of time.
Fair enough.
I didn't finish the hook route. I didn't go underground, didn't have to do the cutscene to come back above ground.
So as far as your trip up and your trip through the moon, we basically saw you get an adamant armor, and we saw you get a sylph summon.
Yep.
Assuming that you figured that was good enough to get you through the moon, which it ultimately was, is this something that you've kind of developed a strategy for? I know you've played a couple of these in practice. Kind of take us through your mindset going to the moon with that loadout.
Yeah, I mean, the Sylph Summon plus the Adamant was enough to get me through the 2 trap chests I took, which would get Palom Quake, and then Adamant Quake is enough to do the moon, was sort of my thought process. Barring a few bosses that can't be quaked, and unless both Plague and Mylon Z were sitting up on the moon, I felt pretty confident in that. And yeah, I think the idea, or my idea when I play these, is get any one, maybe two characters to the point where they can kill moon bosses and then just go. You don't need a whole party. You don't have to fight Zeromus after. You just need to kill moon bosses.
Well, definitely makes sense. That practice paying off, finishing third in tonight's race is definitely a great job well done, given the crowd that we had this evening. So as far as that's concerned with your practice paying off, are you going to be playing more of this flag set? Do you see yourself doing this on the ladder? Where are you at with it?
Oh, absolutely. This is a lot of fun. I recommend everyone give this flag set a shot, even if you're not the biggest fan of push B to jump. It's more about trying to do weird low-level moon boss and moon shenanigans than it is about pushing B and jumping. So give it a shot. Awesome.
Wow, way to call me out, friend. So we noticed that also you got the Earth Crystal, went and did some things, and you came back to the treasury. You didn't do it immediately, I don't believe. Was there a reason for skipping that initially?
Well, the Earth Crystal came out of Antlion, so that was after my first Troyan trip. And then I thought about doing Fabul Defense, and then changed my mind and went to grab the freebie from music, and then grabbed the treasury loot while I was there.
Okay, gotcha. So you routed. I was just trying to figure out, because to me it was like, oh, that Earth Crystal, that treasury, you're going to want all the money in the world. I just wasn't sure if it was something where you didn't need it at that point to go do the Twin Harp, so you just kind of put it off for routing purposes, which it sounds like it was.
Yeah, also, if the Twin Harp was just some kind of zonk, I was going to reset back to Trey anyway.
Definitely makes sense. Rybon, any questions for Sorbius?
The only question I have, Sorbius, how much do you hate Kainaza right now?
I mean, it's not his fault. He didn't put himself there. I regret that I attempted him a couple more times after not really gaining anything from the Ribbon Room. Like, in my mind, like, I had gained enough levels that I could probably do it, and only Palom had picked up a couple of levels. And I should have just gone and checked Ogo instead of trying that a couple more times. I think I might have sniped second place from Tybalt, but that's really my only regret in the seed, is bothering to try Kanazo again until it was proven absolutely necessary.
Well, at the very least, you earned my respect for your tenacity against that Kainazo. Not even knowing that a D-Mist sitting at Masamune was waiting for you. It could have been anything. Could have been, Dimps or something like that, something a little easier, but you were dedicated to that turtle, and you gotta respect that gumption.
I appreciate it.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions we have for you, Sorbius. Anything else that you would like to add before we let you go enjoy the rest of your night and or work?
Well, the rest of my night is work, so thank you. Thanks to you and Rybon for speaking the words, and Scala for making the things happen, and Firebird for pushing buttons. And I'll see you all around. Bye.
Have a good evening, Sorbius. Thank you again, and GG's. Congratulations on the third place finish.
Meanwhile, we have two runners still going, a Stone Dingley and Rex Banner. Rex, being the Ever Showman, may be the first one on Restream to take down this turtle.
Yeah, I think Rex had some awkward timing against D-Mist there, and so might be opting for another attempt at Kainatsu here, just try to get all of these waves nerfed, which this one should be nerfed with the Palom as well. Should get a Bahamut cast off, and might be able to start whittling down this Kainatsu. Again, the difficulty here with this is the technical gameplay portion of this Kainatsu. It's just very hard to do, to get it right every single time.
But if you know as much as I do, when it comes to technical gameplay, Rex Banner is one of the premier runners who can actually pull off some very cheeky strats. This K-Nazo not excluded.
Oh yeah, if there's a way to do it, Rex can and will do it. It may not be the first time, it may not be pretty, but he will prove to you that nearly anything is possible in this game. With enough willpower, and as you had put it earlier with Sorbius, with enough gumption as well. So, and Rex, again, ever the showman, will choose to do things that other people just won't do.
And fortunately for Rex, with enough Thor Rage to get through this as well. I'm not sure where he picked it up, but it's a good thing he did.
Yeah,
part of the starting.
I don't know if it was part of a starting kit or not, but he, if he picked them up somewhere, that was definitely a prescient move for sure. To go ahead and pick those up in the event that there's a Kainatsu floating around.
Meanwhile, on Stone Dingley's side, he is done with that D-Myth, so now he has his choice. Does he want to take the Karate up at Crystal Sword Altar, or does he want to also try his hand at this turtle?
I think if you have an Adamant armor, you go for Karate. If you don't, I think you go for Kainatsu. So I don't know what Stone Dingley's loadout is. I don't know if he has that Adamant armor or not, but that would be the deciding factor for me. Adamant armor just makes Karate free. Adamant armor does not make Kainatsu free. And Stone Dingley is opting to go for that Karate. So I think that would tell me he probably has an Adamant armor.
I believe I've seen that Palom on Stone Dingley's side take 1 damage from a hit from that D-Myth, so you're probably correct in that regard. It may actually be another one of these photo finishes.
Yeah, because the interesting thing about that is that Karate only has 25,000 health, whereas this Kainatsu has, 28 or 30,000. So it is going to, or Kainatsu just explodes and Rex is just going to be done.
Yeah, I guess he has 0 HP at this point.
Yeah, I guess that's 28,000 less than 28,000. Rex getting all of these levels, wondering when am I going to stop gaining spells and I can actually just, finish the race and be done. Looks like it is going to be Rex Banner finishing in 7th place overall. PK edging him out in 6th place off stream, but Rex coming in 7th place overall, 3rd on restream, getting through that turtle. The only one of our runners to get through the turtle, and we'll see if we can get Rex in for an interview as well.
GG's to Rex, again showing off his technical expertise. A pleasure to watch.
Yeah, Rex always one of those runners, again, who, if there is a way to do it, he will get through it. And that was a great job done getting through that turtle, while Stone Dingley is going to battle with that Karate. With that dinging in our ears, I believe we are joined by a Rex Banner. GG's to you, Rex.
Thank you. GG to the other folks. How are you doing this evening?
I think we're doing great up here in the booth, not having to fight the bosses up on the moon. Those were some bosses that were up on the moon. So GG's to you getting through them.
They were fun. I enjoyed them. A little bit disappointed with Miss Dragon.
We noticed that you opted for Kainatsu over D-Mist. Was that because the timing was a little awkward on D-Mist, or because you just had a grudge against Kainatsu and wanted to off him on Restream?
No, it was timing. With the fact that both my Bahamut's were going to miss, I'm like, no, this is going to be too much of a pain. It's easier just to slow down and take my time with Kainatsu.
Fair enough. So we saw that you picked up Bahamut, you picked up not 1 but 2 Rydias. I assume that was basically the game plan, was unleash the fury of the Dragon God on the entirety of the moon.
Yep, when I saw the adamants were there, I was making up something so I could go play on the moon. Then when I finally found the Bahamut summon, I'm like, well, we're set up there. Then I went up there and then started having doubts because I forgot how to do the MP glitch. And yeah, so was very happy to see the King and Queen Evelyn at the Myrrh same altar. So happy.
Yeah, it was definitely a nice fight for y'all to see up there. Free 59,000 XP, get some MP on everyone, allow that MP glitch to fire, be able to get some health to survive some things for people other than Adamant Rydia. So it was definitely a beautiful fight for y'all to find. Kind of circling way, way back to the beginning of the seed, you got the pass actually first of everyone on Restream that we saw. And you were ever the showman, and we want to thank you for this. And you went up and you got to play Hug with Grandpa, talking to Fusoya. So we just wanted to thank you for showing off the little Easter egg there.
Thought you folks would like it. Push B to jump is just a fun seed. I definitely don't get too competitive with anything with it. So when I got the pass out early, I'm like, I might as well go have some fun with it, and thought I'd show off Fupa.
Yeah, definitely always a great time to get to see that. It's not something we see very often on Restream, so really cool for everyone to get to see it. Going through kind of the seed character selection wise, how did you feel about the party other than Rydia? Were you impressed with them? Did you not want them? Like, what was your thoughts overall?
They definitely weren't my first choice when I first saw the Adamants. I would have loved to have had a Kane, Cecil, of course. Sid's not bad, but Runax, you're almost topped out on them, so they weren't that great. I generally like the more melee-based team over the magical, but take what I get and work with it the best I can.
Definitely. Rybon, any questions for Rex?
The main question I have for you, Rex, is for this seed being on the ladder, will you be giving it a shot later this particular season?
I might pop into it here and there. It's hard to say. I'm sort of taking it a little bit easier since the tournament. I'll still be doing stuff randomly. I'm probably not going to be doing as much free enterprise as I was before, but we'll definitely be popping into the ladder here and there, and probably I'll check this seed out.
Well, that's very scary to hear, and I hope I don't match up against you.
I'm sure you'll do just fine. I've seen you, Rybon. You're a rather talented individual yourself.
Very kind of you to say, but certainly not as much as you when it comes to this push B to jump stuff. Regardless, thank you very much for volunteering to be restreamed this evening. It was a pleasure to watch you, and we hope to see you next time.
Well, thank you, folks. I always appreciate you guys that do the commentary and the restream and the button pushing. It's great that you did. So thank you, folks, very much.
Thank you, Rex and GG's. Have a great evening.
You folks as well.
And we are now also joined by a Stone Dingley, our 8th place finisher in the race this evening. GG's to you, Stone Dingley.
Thank you so much.
So you chose early on to do a lot of the kind of in logic checks, not going for a lot of like the push B to jump logic. Was that a calculated decision on your part, or just kind of how the seed flowed for you?
Generally, when I do push B to jump, I like to do the easy checks first, the ones that'll give me key items, especially on a flake set like this where you really only need one key item to get you into go mode. So I figured let's just knock out as many of those as quickly as possible. And then for a couple of them, like checking music, I like to get exit first so I don't have to walk out in case it's something good. And it was this time.
Yeah, I would say it was pretty good indeed, what came from music. We have no idea where the darkness crystal was, but turns out doesn't matter. So it's a neat little bit with the pass to get to the moon, that one-way trip. What was kind of your game plan going to the moon? You had an adamant armor for Palom, but did you have any inclination to do some shopping for like summons for Rydia, or find a good bow and arrow? What else were you looking for?
Oh boy, those would have been really great ideas. I heard that some of the other runners found Bahamut. Completely forgot with S Wild on that could be in a shop. So, I mean, that's part of why I took a couple extra trap chests, because I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get a Leviathan or a Bahamut, but it's for sale. Definitely would have done a little more shopping. I mean, I didn't even have tents or cabins going up to the moon. I was a little bit worried about that. And I'll be totally honest, this is my first time on Hop Till You Shop. So, until I picked up the crystal, I thought we had to fight Zeramis at the end.
Ah. I have been there and done that, I promise you, my friend. You will not be the first nor the last. But as far as your trek through the moon, you opted to take out, I believe, everything but Kainatsu. Now, did you see the Kainatsu and just say, this is going to be super awkward, I don't want to do this? Or kind of what was the logic on it?
I was just thinking that the adamant armor wouldn't do a whole lot of good against that wave, and I had a bunch of moon veils, so let's check every single other place first.
That definitely makes sense. That was kind of what we had speculated on in the booth, was that adamant armor would lead you toward karate, which we knew was at the Crystal Sword altar at that point, as opposed to having to try to nerf some waves. One of those seems a whole lot easier than the other.
For sure.
But what's your overall impressions of the flag set? Do you think it's something you see yourself doing either on the ladder or playing more of? Did you like it? Anything you'd want to change with it? What's your thoughts on it as a whole?
Oh, I like it a lot. I was a big fan of Giant Percent, and I love Push B to Jump, and this kind of combines two of the things I like the most about it, being able to go out of logic and do some funky stuff and take big gambles by soft locking yourself on the moon and with a hope and a prayer. It's a lot of fun, and hopefully next time I go into it, I'll be a little more prepared for whatever I encounter.
Definitely. I have no doubt that will be the case. I have not only had the pleasure of seeing you race and go deep into tournaments, but racing against you myself. And I know how good you are when you get a hold of these flag sets and get some time and practice in. So I look forward to seeing you be able to run these again as well.
Oh, you're going to make me blush. Thank you so much, Possum. I mean, you're amazing. Obviously, if I come up against you on the ladder, I'm going to be pretty nervous. But I'm looking forward to it at some point.
Absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate the kind words as well, my friend. And Rybon, do you have any questions for Stone Dingley?
No questions, just one comment. Being the only runner that took a more conventional route, I mean, it definitely could have worked out for you this particular seed. It unfortunately did not, but it's a very interesting way to approach Push B to Jump. And I wish you all the luck in the future when it comes to this flag set. And just like Rex Banner, I hope I don't match up against you, because I fear for my chances of winning.
Well, thank you so much for your kind words. Hopefully all you guys and everybody watching at home has a good night.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stone Dingley. We appreciate you volunteering to let us see you do what you do best, which is, race this free enterprise stuff. So thank you for putting on a great show as always. And you have a great evening too. And with that, it does look like we are going to be finished here on the Free Enterprise channel. But before we go anywhere, we do want to make sure we get a shout out in for all our behind the scenes folks and for all of our runners. Because of the speed at which this race took place, it was a little difficult to get that in. But I want to make sure that y'all get to see and follow everybody. So we had a Stone Dingley, Sorbius, Tybalt, and Rex Banner, 4 fantastic runners. And then also, behind the scenes, of course, the wonderful Scala Kitty, Firebird Lover on tracking, my amazing co-commentator Rybon, make sure you give everybody a follow. They're all fantastic people and deserve your love.
But of course, more deserving, Possum, who here pretty much has taught me about 90 to 99% of everything I know about this particular game. So a fantastic teacher, a fantastic streamer. Give him a follow, and better yet, watch him. If you want to be good at this game, he will make you good at this game. Also, I just want to give a shout out for tomorrow evening. The next match here streamed on Free Enterprise will be Spoil Sports, our new community club, starting at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. So be sure to tune in for that.
Yeah, definitely tune in for that. It's going to be a great time. Lots of good events. I think we have one nearly every night this week that's going to be on, so going to be a great time indeed. Also, the Ladder Season 5 has just started up, so make sure if you want to get in on that, now is the time to do it. Lots of cool flag sets, including Hop Till You Shop, which was the race that you just saw this evening. So that is another really awesome thing you can get involved in if you want to learn some Free Enterprise. A lot of really cool flag sets on there and really cool people helping out. But without further ado, since we are done here this evening, but we are not done with Free Enterprise. We are going to be raiding over to a friend of the community and amazing commentary member herself, Kinda Nerdy Housewife, going to be running this race still. Is in emote only, so make sure you give all sorts of fantastic emotes out to Kinda Nerdy Housewife and cheer her on. But thank you again, everyone. No spoilers if you somehow can try to spoil, or you will get the bonk. But everybody, as always, take care, stay healthy, stay blessed, have a great evening. And overall, thank you so much for coming out and watching this wonderful restream of Free Enterprise.